So my training is actually pretty specific because I do lead and bouldering. I start the season with bouldering, obviously. So in January, I'm usually doing a lot of power, a lot of not cardio, sorry, a lot of abs, power, campus board, and fingerboard. And so I'm basically trying to get my fingers back to the strength that they were at the end of the previous year. So I don't know, 3 months of a lot of campus board, dead hanging, and abs. There were a lot of core conditioning, and then kind of somewhere in those months, I kind of drop out campus board. I start doing actual boulder problems because it's actually really important to do boulder problems when you're preparing for World Cups. And then sometime during in the middle, I drop out dead hanging, and then I'm doing almost purely boulder problems and a bit of run and jumps, a few triple dynos, and there's a lot of weird stuff in World Cups now, and really you're trying to train so you can be good at them all. If you have a weakness, like if you can't grab a crimp or if you can't grab slopers, you really have to work on it. So now with the coordination, the stabbing your foot to a foothold, even slab climbing, a bit of campusing, a bit of feet first, you kind of have to be ready for anything. Yeah. And so it all really helps to set a boulder like that, to train on it, and get other people to set you boulders, and just so you're ready for whatever the route setters throw at you during a World Cup.
I've got a very interesting question, which I know that different route setters have different favourites. If you've got a World Championship coming up and there's a particular route setter, will you maybe think, he likes doing these sort of problems and maybe I'm just going to be a little bit more concentrating on one particular area, or do you not really look at the route setter?
I personally don't ever even look at the route setters that are going to be at the competition, and it's mostly because I don't. Some people would probably say it's a mistake. Like they would want to look at the route setter, would say, oh, this route setter always blocks the top of the hole, or this route setter always does a jump and then you have to stab for a foot. Personally, it doesn't really matter for me if they're gonna do lots of those. Yeah, you'd like to do it at training so you practice it, but realistically, I'm gonna try to do it regardless of the route setter. And that's my personal opinion. Maybe it's because I'm lazy and I don't want to go and do the research and I don't want to go and look it up and then train that. But for me, usually I'm working on my weaknesses and at the same time practicing things that I'm good at, just so I'm the all-around climber. And then whatever boulder I get, I just work it out. Final
question then. Once the boulder season comes to a close and the lead season comes in, do you start training for the lead season? How long beforehand? Are you training for lead while the boulder season's still going on?
Yeah, sometimes I am, and that's a really difficult question to answer because it kind of varies depending on the World Cup season. So this year, there's only 5 bouldering World Cups. Unfortunately, I'm only going to be able to do 3 of them due to other competitions during the year and other events. And so I'll actually have a little bit more time to prepare myself for the lead season because the first one's in Chamonix, which is, I guess, middle of July. And then my last bouldering one is at the end of June. So even though they're 2 weeks apart, in those 2 weeks I'll be trying to do only lead, and then I won't have any other bouldering competitions. So usually it's enough. Chamonix will be a good test, and usually I'll climb a lot faster in the first few ones just because my endurance won't be quite as good as it could be, further in the season. But that's the transition I make, and I know that I'll be very powerful. The moves won't be physically too hard, especially in the lead season, and I just need to really work on my endurance, work on my rhythm, and get back to where I was at the end of the previous season.